Welcome to AI ConvoCast, where we bring you the latest in AI and tech innovation. Quick housekeeping. Check out the affiliate links in our description. Using them supports the show, and please don't forget to rate, review, and share if you like what you hear. Let's jump right in. Today, we will be covering Anthropic. Delaying the launch of Claude Mythos over safety concerns. Anthropic's massive new TPU deal with Google and Broadcom alongside a $30 billion revenue run rate. Microsoft overhauling Copilot integration across Microsoft 365, and OpenAI projecting up to $100 billion in advertising revenue by 2030. Let's get into it. Anthropic made headlines this weekend by announcing it is delaying the broader release of its Claude Mythos model. The company cited internal safety evaluations and risk thresholds as the reason for hitting the brakes. Claude Mythos had been previewed to a select group of partners, and reports describe it as significantly more capable than previous Claude models, especially when it comes to offensive cybersecurity tasks. Essentially, the model demonstrated an ability to identify exploitable vulnerabilities at scale, which is powerful but also raises serious questions about what happens if that capability is misused. The concern was apparently significant enough that U.S. banking officials reportedly held emergency briefings during the week of April 6th over potential systemic vulnerabilities. One report noted that advanced AI models like Anthropic's Claude Mythos preview expose critical vulnerabilities in existing infrastructure. The delay shifts the narrative around Mythos from one of exclusivity and limited access to one of active risk containment. Anthropic has been operating under its responsible scaling policy, which sets internal benchmarks for when a model is safe enough to deploy more broadly. In this case, Mythos apparently did not clear those benchmarks. As one report put it plainly, Anthropic announced it was delaying the launch of its new artificial intelligence model, Claude Mythos. No specific new timeline has been given for when the broader rollout might happen, but this is clearly a case where the company decided that caution was more important than speed to market. And that is a meaningful signal about where the capability frontier actually sits right now. Now, even while Anthropic is pumping the brakes on Mythos, the company is simultaneously stepping on the gas when it comes to infrastructure. Anthropic announced an expanded partnership with Google and Broadcom to secure approximately 3.5 gigawatts of next-generation TPU compute capacity starting in 2027. To put that in context, that is on top of 1 gigawatt already scheduled for 2026. A gigawatt is a massive amount of power. For reference, a single gigawatt can power roughly 750,000 homes. So 3.5 gigawatts dedicated to AI compute is an enormous commitment and one of the largest publicly disclosed compute deals in AI history. Anthropic said in a statement, "We are making our most significant compute commitment to date to keep pace with our unprecedented growth." And that growth is real. The company disclosed that its annualized revenue run rate has surpassed $30 billion, which is a staggering jump from $9 billion at the end of 2025. They also now have over 1,000 enterprise customers, each spending more than $1 million annually. The vast majority of this new infrastructure will be physically located in the United States, which matters both from a supply chain perspective and in terms of the ongoing conversation about where critical AI infrastructure should be housed. Anthropic is also continuing to build alongside AWS Trainium deployments. So this is not an all eggs in one basket situation. They are scaling across multiple hardware platforms, but this TPU commitment with Google and Broadcom is clearly the centerpiece of their near-term compute strategy. Shifting over to Microsoft, the company announced a significant reset of how Copilot is integrated across Microsoft 365 applications. If you have been using Copilot in Word or Excel or Teams over the past year or so, you may have noticed that the experience could feel a bit scattered. There were experimental features popping up in different places, inconsistent UI elements, and a general sense that the integration was being bolted on rather than built in. Microsoft is now acknowledging that and making a deliberate pivot. The company described the change as removing scattered UI elements and half-baked features in favor of deep integration. The new approach focuses on cross-app continuity, meaning you could start a task in Copilot Chat, refine it in Word, shape it into a presentation in PowerPoint, and publish it through SharePoint, all with Copilot following along and maintaining context throughout the workflow. They are also introducing collaborative Copilot sessions that support up to 32 people at once, which could be a big deal for teams working on documents or projects together in real time. The emphasis here is on reliability and workflow continuity rather than flashy new features. This comes after enterprise customers pushed back on the premium Copilot tiers, with many finding the value proposition unclear or the experience too fragmented to justify the cost. Microsoft is essentially saying they heard that feedback and are prioritizing making the existing tools work seamlessly before layering on more novelty. And finally, OpenAI is signaling a major shift in how it plans to make money going forward. The company is projecting $2.5 billion in advertising revenue for 2026, with a target of up to $100 billion in ad revenue by 2030. That is a dramatic number. To put it in perspective, if OpenAI hit that target, it would place them among the largest advertising platforms on the planet, in the neighborhood of companies like Meta and Google. The report, which surfaced via Axios, represents one of the first long-term revenue disclosures from OpenAI following its recent mega funding rounds. Up until now, the company's revenue story has been primarily about subscriptions and API usage. This projection suggests OpenAI is planning to build a significant advertising layer into ChatGPT or its affiliated products. The exact form that takes remains to be seen, but it confirms that OpenAI is thinking about itself not just as a model provider or a developer platform, but as a consumer-facing product with the kind of reach and engagement that attracts major ad spending. As the report stated, OpenAI is forecasting a rapid rise in advertising revenue, projecting $2.5 billion in 2026 and as much as $100 billion by 2030. That is a bold bet on consumer attention and platform scale, and it will be fascinating to watch how they balance that with the user experience people have come to expect from their products. Thank you for listening to AI Convo Cast. Please don't forget to rate, review, and share if you like what you hear. Thanks and hope to see you again next time.